Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about, I guess the general question of, is this the end of Rick and Michonne's story? Now, I'm not going to focus on like, is there a season 2 and this and that, because obviously we've talked about that a lot, and throughout this next week, there's probably going to be interviews that come out where they're asking Gimple and everyone else, like, is there going to be a season 2 and all of that? Though I will say, I haven't seen anything yet, and I would have thought that there would have been some stuff after episode 5, and there wasn't. And I'm guessing that's because they're probably doing interviews this week in order to sort of set up something for Sunday. And then this Sunday, if there's going to be an announcement at all. I mean, Scott Gimple, Andrew Lincoln, Denai Guerrera, they're going to be doing interviews this week for sure because, everyone's going to have questions about the finale and all of that. And like, what's next? Is this the end of Rick and Michonne? And that's kind of what I want to focus this video more on is like, just what they sort of set up here. And if there is no season 2 at all, this is technically the end. The episode coming up right away, like this Sunday here in 6 more days, this is the end of Rick and Michonne, or is it? So I want to talk about that exactly because it's kind of insane to me to think that if there actually is no season 2 at all, then this is actually the end here. So yeah, I want to get into all this here. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. And I also will be posting a video later on today. It's going to be a memberships video. So if you do want to actually support what I do here and get like a monthly vlog from me, I posted here on the channel. There's a join button. So yeah, if you just want to join and support the channel and everything that I do here, again, I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to be posting today's vlog. It's going to be focusing more on like, just talking about the ones who live and also just sort of giving an update on things that are going on and whatnot. And I am also considering, doing a Patreon for reactions. I'm not entirely sure yet because I don't know how that would go. And I have a lot of questions about it. But I know I've seen some people say, like, you should do some more reaction content. And I've been getting that question a lot. But I think if I was to do, like, reaction videos on Patreon, that could be a lot of fun. I could go back to the very beginning of The Walking Dead, start with season 1 and just actually literally do every single episode of the entire series. Yes, I have watched it, so there's going to be that aspect to it where it's not necessarily my first reaction, but I can do some commentary over it and talk about the whole thing and have just like a bunch of videos on there. I can go back and do Fear the Walking Dead. I have not watched Fear the Walking Dead season 1, 2, and 3 in a very long time. And then obviously new content, all that. I mean, I do live reactions and stuff on Twitch, and I will still do that. So I will have to juggle a lot of that, but I can also watch other shows that I've never watched. So I'm considering all of that, but as of now anyways, I am doing vlogs and stuff like that on YouTube here. So if you do want to actually join and become a member, like I said, I post one monthly vlog every single month, and yeah, I'd appreciate it a lot. But let's actually get into the question here, and this is the question I have for you guys. Are we about to see the very final story here for Rick and Michonne? Is that what is about to happen here? Because that is how everything is sort of set up right now. Like, everything is set up right now for this to be the end. Like, yes, we're all talking about a season 2, and like, is it possible? Can they do more? And we're all trying to break down all the little details in terms of just what they're not saying and like, where the story can go and all of that, right? I even saw a post here. This is from Skybound's Walking Dead account on Twitter or X. And yeah, they posted that it's almost the end of the road for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. And then it says, what's your prediction for The Ones Who Live finale? And I'm just like, well, I mean, is it almost the end of the road? It's so hard to just like, it's hard to believe that this would be the end, that story-wise, this is actually what it's supposed to feel like for this to be the end. And I feel like that's one of those things as well. Like, how would they even set that up? Like, how would they even set up this to be the end if it was actually the end? I even saw this post here from The Walking Dead. Like, this is actually AMC's Walking Dead account here. And it says, 1 episode left, hashtag The Ones Who Live. This was posted last night, obviously. And I mean, yeah, seeing this, am I supposed to believe that? Like, there is 1 episode left, yes, but I don't know, like, it's so hard for me to believe that this is actually the end. Rick and Michonne's story is about to be over. After this Sunday, that's it. We're never going to see them again, right? Because this was supposed to end their stories. This show was going to end their stories. I just, now that we're here, now that we're like literally like just days away from the very last episode, I'm just really in disbelief that this is actually it. There's no setup at all. There's not like this sort of feeling of like, this is actually going to end. And I'm just focusing on so many of the story, parts that feel like it's so not even really, they haven't went in depth on a lot of it, like Major General Beale. There's so much to that character that we haven't really seen a lot of yet. There's a lot of stuff with Pearl Thorne as well, even though she is sort of a newer character. I just feel like that, they can get into that character a lot more. And honestly, I would have felt like maybe this could have been the end if episode 4, like the episode where, or I guess at the end of episode 3 where they jump out and escape, if that was the ending of episode 5, then I would be like, okay, this might actually be the end, right? Like, because if you actually think about that, if episode 5 ended where Rick and Michonne jumped out of the helicopter and it was like, oh, wow, did they just escape? Are they going back home? Then I think we would be more in a place of like, okay, this actually seems like the end, right? Like it would feel like their story was about to be over, but that happened a long time ago. They've been in a place where things have just been way too happy. And also now they're deciding to go back. I think, if you're a writer, writing that is also weird. Like first you wrote that, they were going back home in episodes 3 and then early in 5, they were going back home. Then all of a sudden now you're writing it so they're going to go back. And then after this, now they're going to go back home. I just find that also really off. Like that, in terms of excitement, that's not a lot. Like I think that there is going to be more. This doesn't feel like the end, right? Like personally for me, it doesn't feel like the end. And I see a lot of comments of people saying that, no, this is going to be the end, this and that. Like you're too hopeful about a season 2. All I'll say is that I felt the same way with Rick's final episode. I really did. Like I had no knowledge that they were going to be doing a movie trilogy or any of that, but it just felt like, there was a chance they could do more. I remember there being interviews sort of about the same thing, but there was more of like, you need to watch this and this and that. And they didn't want to talk about a lot. And I just remember feeling like this can't be it for Rick. Like there's no way. I know that he's going to be leaving for a while because of, his family and all that, but it felt like it wasn't the end. And I just remember a lot of people saying, you're holding on to hope way too much, this and that. And then eventually they announced the Rick movie trilogy. And look at this, all these years later, he's back. Like, we have him back now. And I just, again, also to wait that long to just get 6 episodes and that's it. Like, yes, this has felt really amazing. The last however many weeks, has been really incredible. Like to have Rick and Michonne back, it feels weird sometimes when you're watching it. You're like, I can't believe that's them. Like they're actually here. Like I'm watching a show with them here. They're wrapping up a lot of storylines that we've been talking about for years. They're going through all this material. They're introducing newer material. And it's like, it's just so weird to see Rick and Michonne back sometimes. Like it feels so just, even though back in the day we got that all the time, it just felt like that was never going to happen again. But yeah, obviously, it's nice to have them back, and it feels like it just happened, and we're not in a place where it feels like it's actually going to be the end. And I'm going to say this right now, I don't think it is. I really am in the belief that there is going to be more for sure. I think that there's no way that this is going to be it. And that's the thing. A lot of people are believing the same thing. Like when you go to that tweet, actually, that The Walking Dead, like AMC's The Walking Dead posted, they posted a tweet saying 1 episode left. When you look at all the comments are saying we need a season 2, announce a season 2. I'm just seeing a lot of comments saying like this one comment here, announce season 2 next week. And everyone is saying that they need more. Like, it's so insane, actually. Like, there's so many comments here. Like, how many comments are just on this post? Because, okay, so there's over 100 comments on here. So yeah, like most of these comments, I'm assuming, are going to be people saying that they want more. I even retweeted this and I said season 2, season 2, season 2, because I want another season. I really do want another season. And that tweet has, yeah, just over 500 likes. So I don't know. To me personally, the anticipation is there. And I think this is probably what they wanted. Like, that's honestly how I sort of view it, is like, they're not even going to be talking about a season 2, and they're going to really make it seem like this is the end in order to build up that anticipation. Because none of the promotion right now is about this is the end. Like, this is the very final episode of The Ones Who Live. This is all really like, they're just kind of saying there's 1 episode left, this and that. It's like they're teasing us with all of it. And honestly, it feels that way. I don't know, maybe that's the way I'm viewing it, but that's just what it feels like right now, because everyone wants a season 2. And there's a lot of people that are saying that, they'd be so mad and disappointed if it was just this, because they really do want more. And there's not a lot of people, like, I do see some comments. I see like a couple of comments saying that like, oh, I want this to be over. Like, just end it now. It's so perfect and whatever. I honestly, I don't really understand what you mean by it's so perfect. You know, for me personally, I think that for Rick and Michonne's reunion, yeah, I think that, you know, they told that really well. I think that was the point of these 6 episodes, was to reunite the characters. I think they did that so brilliantly. You had the characters come back and reunite in episode 1, which, yes, that was kind of shocking. I thought they would save that a little bit, but they reunited the characters right away. But you also told the backstory to Michonne in episode 2. You got the characters to the CRM. You sort of explored some of that there. You know, you went in depth more with the characters, and Pearl Thorne, you know, episode 3 was definitely a big Pearl Thorne episode. Episode 4, you got them together. And I think that was the one where, like, I really feel like the format of everything was just so perfectly done. Like, if you look at episode 4, like, no other characters really besides Rick and Michonne. And you got them down to the basics and focused on a lot of the tension that was happening and the arguments, and you really broke down a lot of walls with the characters, and you just got them to a place that they were at, you know, before all of this happened, where not only did they recognize each other again and really, you know, just become, you know, the Rick and Michonne that we knew, like, we also started to recognize the characters again, and it felt really familiar, and it just got to a place where by the end of the episode, we were like, they're back. Rick and Michonne is back. More specifically, Rick is back, right? Because Rick was the one that was, like, so different mostly. And then in episode 5, it starts off with Rick and Michonne in the woods, which felt like classic Walking Dead. And then you get Jadis' death at the end and just that whole story. It's like, it's so perfect. I like the 5 episodes so far. And now they're going to the finale here. And again, for Rick and Michonne's story, it's perfect. But for the CRM story, for the overall bigger story here for the season, I just feel like, you know, that hasn't been properly told yet. And there's not really anything that they can do in the finale here that would properly tell that, because there's not enough screen time. Like, yes, you could do things. You can do things, but it would feel rushed. It really would feel rushed. So I think looking at that story and all of that, it makes sense. This isn't the end of Rick and Michonne. I think there's going to be a season 2. I got a lot of questions of like, well, do you think they'll end this and then announce another spinoff? Or maybe this is it. Rick and Michonne will return in like an Endgame spinoff or something like that. And maybe the CRM arc will be more, maybe like Major General Beale will be in like in Dead City or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen. That is really, I think, like, that's a lot. Like, I think in terms of branding, and like, you have another show called The Ones Who Live that everyone recognizes. Why would you create a new show? People are going to be more confused and be like, wait, what? So that's going to be more about the CRM, and Rick and Michonne aren't a part of that anymore? Like, I don't know if people are going to care to watch that so much. You got to remember, that's why they're doing these 3 spinoffs. Like, there's a reason to it, because you have the 3, or not 3, but each show has 2 main characters, right? Like Rick and Michonne, Daryl and Carol, and then Maggie and Negan, right? Like, that's why they're doing that. They're not going to do a CRM story, even if you brought Aaron and Gabriel or other characters to that. Like, that's, people aren't going to watch for those characters. Those characters, yes, they're great characters, but like, I think they're good for moments like, you know, with how they used Gabriel here in this episode, because that was shocking to actually see Gabriel in this episode was shocking and really amazing. And I think it was sort of just like how they used Simon before, right? Like, I think you can use those characters in that way. To have a spinoff focused on those characters is a lot, and I don't think the audience is there for that, right? So I don't think that's what's going to happen at all. You know, like the CRM arc, that is The Ones Who Live arc. That's you know, Rick and Michonne's story. Maybe there's some parts of it that could be in Dead City, sure, but I don't think so. I also think Dead City, it's sort of its own thing. And, you know, if you like Dead City, you like sort of that more, you know, down-to-earth Walking Dead story, then that's sort of what that show is going to be. And I think Daryl Dixon is going to be more focused on Variant Walkers and all of that. The CRM stuff, yes, it will sort of, there will be connections here and there with all of the shows in general, but I just think that that is more of Rick and Michonne's story, and you get Terry O'Quinn to play Major General Beale, to not really be in the show that much. Yes, he's probably gonna have a really awesome scene here in the finale, but I just think that, you know, there's got to be more. So I don't think that this is going to be the end of Rick and Michonne's story. That's where I'll end this here. Is this the end? You know, they're sort of building it up like this is actually the end. I don't think this is the end. I would be so surprised if this is the end. And that's sort of where I'll leave it here. I don't think that this is actually going to be the end, because I think that'd be insane. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. I will say, though, I'm going to be doing a video talking about that right away. I do wonder if, like, could Michonne die? And the reason why I bring up Michonne is because I don't think that they would kill off Rick after everyone thought he was dead, right? So what if Michonne actually died? I do want to talk about that in another video, because there was a mention, I don't remember when that was, but there was a mention a long time ago about the finale being really, really sad or emotional. I think it was more emotional. I think people were crying and whatnot. So I don't know if that means a good thing or a bad thing, right? So that's something that we're going to have to wait and see. But what if it's Michonne's death? And like, what if that is something here? Because if you look at sort of episodes 4 and 5, they had like a lot of moments there where they were so happy. So what if that means Michonne's death here in this episode? That would be absolutely insane. I honestly, I don't even know how I'd cope with that. like what if that was possible? I don't think it's going to happen, but like, now's the time to talk about it, right? Like, now's the time. During this week, this is the time to talk about it, really. So yeah, I'll talk about what the chances are of that and all of that, and sort of get into all that in my next video. But post all your thoughts down below. And yeah, answer the question of this video. Do you think this is the end of Rick and Michonne's story? Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.